Hey vinyl community, Jeff here, another video. Let's take a look at some other recent albums that came in. This time we're going to be focusing on some slightly more obscure bands, and it all depends on the circles you're in. Maybe these are like key bands for you. But, you know, in the whole overwhelming world of music, they tend to be more on the obscure side. But anyway, so in case you weren't aware, if you're familiar with the band Paw Driver, this just got remastered and reissued on vinyl. This is a 1984 Canadian thrash band. Joke. Band is a good word, maybe. In the studio, mainly two people, one guy singing, one guy doing all the instruments, kind of put together. The stories, there's a big story in here and it tells it, and you can read about it online, but they wanted to do something that was over the top in all ways, just loud, obnoxious lyrics to be just as crazy as they can be. And, you know, the cover was to be just as silly or metal as you think it could be. And, you know, I guess the response was pretty good. They did a second album in 86, which, again, was kind of an in-the-studio project. But this one, 84, Shadow Kingdom Records has remastered and reissued this. Anyway, it says, the infamous debut album, remastered and finally reissued, legendary Canadian speed metal with a dark edge and a mysterious background story. It is on pile puke colored vinyl. So, yeah, I don't know, kind of interesting. It came with a 4-page fold-out that's got the lyrics, and it's got the whole story here. The lyrics and stuff on the back. It also comes with a nice fold-out poster, pretty much, of the album cover. If that'll show in there, pretty cool. It was in a polyline sleeve, and I guess the artwork and everything is pretty much the same as before. Now, does that mean the next album? They only had 2 releases. I assume maybe the next one's coming, but I know this one, I honestly was not aware that they had a second album. Back in the day, this album was everywhere. Everybody had this. I think I had it on cassette for the longest time. I've had it digitally now for a couple decades, but never owned a physical product for it since it came out back in the day. I remember having it. So it has been, though, reissued. CD, vinyl, all of that good stuff. Shadow Kingdom Records. I pre-ordered this months ago, and it came out, and here it is. Cool stuff, you know. It's fun. It's very reminiscent of the stuff back in the day. Next up, one of those LA bands that came and gone. They had, it looks like, just one album. Dirty Blonde, Passion. Los Angeles band. This has been released on a couple, you know, black and white. And the one I got, this was bought from a fella on Facebook. And yeah, I thought, okay, I like buying the more obscure bands. I had never heard this band before, you know, but obviously they're right in my musical likings. So I thought, hey, I'll give it a chance. It's you know, it's an original copy. I don't know anything about any of the guys, where they went, what they did after this, if any of them. I don't recognize any of the names. Jimmy St. James, everybody with their saints. Anyway, yeah, 1989. This was a bit in the tail end of, you know, the whole hair scene, but this is along that lines, kind of, you know, one part Slaughter, one part Skid Row, kind of not much into that hair, but definitely into the sleaze rock era of that time. Along the same lines, 1989 also, we have to see Hags. Now, again, another band I never heard anything about until getting involved in the vinyl community, and I've seen quite a few people show this and talk it up and play it out as being really good. I was not familiar with it at all. Another one of those kind of one-and-done bands. I think they had a live album many years later, but this is really the studio album that they had. So same guy who had that one. I thought, you know, he had this one, and since I bought them both together, he gave me a good price on both of them. And yeah, and it's along the same lines, that same kind of, to me, you know, when you start getting to the late 80s, you start moving out of the very slightly moving out of the more glam, more real commercial, syrupy sweet type hair metal that they would call it, and you start kind of moving into the edgier stuff just a little, you know, the Skid Rows, stuff like that. And this falls into that. It's a little more gritty than, and there's quite a few bands that I've discovered in that time frame, you know, that it just seemed like that's where it was headed. So this is one of them. And so yeah, two slightly obscure bands on top of a reissue of a slightly obscure band. So, but that was it. So yeah, just a couple of interesting, I thought interesting, right up my alley, kind of musical style from the late 80s and stuff. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll be back. Thanks for watching. Rock on. Rock hard.